What connects French architect Paul Gourdet with the historical center of Almaty? Why is the Jarkent Mosque the single surviving work of Chinese architect on Pike? Where is Valikhanov's manor house Sirimbiet located? Forgotten names and little-known facts, recent history and national color, all this is in the Grand Buildings program. Today in our program, the history of Kazakhstani railways construction, the most stylish railway station of the 20th century, Soviet chic in station architecture, notably Joly, the triumph of modern technologies. Arteries of life, so at all times people called railways these strong steel strands expanding across the vast expanses of the country. Hundreds of trains that followed their straight tracks not only connected human destinies, but satiated remote regions of Kazakhstan with coal and ore, oil and timber, fabrics, food and other goods, without which everyday life is inconceivable. For most people, the uniform clatter of trains' wheels in the old stations are shrouded in a romantic fluor. The candidate of architectural sciences, Gulnara Kamalova, fell victim to their charm. For more than 10 years, she has been engaged in in-depth study of all aspects of Kazakhstan's communication routes development. The first roads came here naturally in the 19th century, at the end of the 19th century. The Ural Road was constructed first. The old railway station was placed in Uralsk, in my opinion, of 1891, and it seems that it has not survived now. In Petropavlovsk, there was Petropavlovsk-Omsk Railway. There were small spurs. It was just spurs, branches from the Russian railways, which were at that time. Private railways began to appear in Kazakhstan in 1904, when there was a grandiose construction of Orenburg-Tashkent Highway in length of 1,668 kilometers in the country. Along the railway line, cities and industrial centers such as Akhtubinsk, Uralsk, Turkestan, and Kizilorda gradually grew. By 1918, the total length of railways in Kazakhstan reached an unprecedented mark of 2,575 kilometers. However, this was not enough for such an enormous territory. The next epochal event was the construction of Turkestan-Siberian Railway, which had been going on from 1927 till 1930, connecting Kazakhstan with Siberia and contributing to economic development of the region and development of many desert lands. In parallel with this process, station construction began to develop actively in Kazakhstan. First of all, the stations included the whole station building, the station, all equipment related to technical maintenance. These are depots, workshops, water towers, and oil pumps. All infrastructure that expanded along the road was built. Moreover, necessarily, there were serving people at this station part. The village and residential buildings were built. People quickly realized that railways would stimulate the trade development, and therefore it would be economically beneficial to settle near it. Confirmation of this fact is the station and the station buildings in the city of Turkestan. Once more than 12 kilometers had separated them from the fortress. With the advent of the railway, the empty stretch of land was bought up and built at that time. Our railway station is a kind of gateway to the sacred city of Turkestan. Here comes a huge number of tourists, not only from Kazakhstan, but also from around the world. The railway complex of Turkestan city, built in the period from 1903 till 1906, is a third-class station with increased volumes. The railway station room consists of a waiting hall in the center and two symmetrical rectangular volumes on either side of it. One was intended for passengers of 1 and 2 classes, the second for passengers of the 3rd class.
Соответственно, если первый и второй класс пассажиры, значит, у них там в их...
Accordingly, if we're talking about passengers of first or second class, then they had a buffet in the hall, ladies' rooms, everything was more comfortable there. The pantry, by the way, is magnificent in Turkestan. There, a stand was made in Art Nouveau style. It is absolutely stunning. You see, there is exactly the style of Art Nouveau. But in general, see what handles in Art Nouveau style were there. Bronze handles in the form of an elephant over the doors in the building.
Ручки в виде слоника вот на дверях вот в самом здании.
Not all internal and external elements of the railway station building have reached us in their original form. Some of them were lost or for safekeeping transferred to the local museum reserves. However, on the front door, unusual pens made in the form of a panther's head are still adorned. There is also a magnificent bronze chandelier hanging in the lobby. Its elegant design is decorated with round plaques with floral ornaments. The feet, candelabros, resemble twisted leaves. The interior is complemented by rich wall paintings, which were updated in 1950.
At
the end of the 19th, the beginning of the 20th century, the railway station buildings and railway station infrastructure are constructing. The level of the building culture is already reviving. This is a slightly different architectural style, different material, other designs and solutions. However, this is also a might. This is the color palette that takes its place, and it occupies a very important place in the architecture of Turkestan. It is one of the anchor sites, which can be said that this is the architecture of the railway station square. The last major restoration took place here quite recently, just over a year ago. Local architects have renovated the railway station square and the passenger platform. Completed works have refreshed the architectural and artistic design of interior space of the building. The railway station has not lost the charm of its architecture and appearance. It has not lost its spiritual appearance until this time, together with its beautiful architectural elements. External appearance of the building corresponds to the laws of European classicism. From similar buildings of that time, it is distinguished by a high facade. It also gives the railway station a solemn and monumental look. Grace is added to it by archways with curved trilogies of window frames, complicated profiles of parapets rising above the roof, and numerous curved decorative details. There are especially numerous on turrets which densely decorate the roof and pierce the sky with their sharp steeples. However, despite a number of canonical architectural elements, the appearance of Turkestan railway station is unique for a simple reason: its geographical location. If we say that there were no such extension lengths here in the Russian part, on the contrary, almost everywhere there are sheds in our part. Moreover, extension lengths of wings were always done more because there was overheating here. Therefore, the Russian engineers of that period always took into account the local climate and factor, because the space had to be solved. If there is overheating, then the volume should be higher to withstand this overheating. The windows are narrowed, that is, there were wide windows to the floor, but here there were no such windows. They are narrowed. The wall thickness is increased. So-called styles and directions are changing under the influence of natural and climatic factors. You come with one project, you solve some problems on site, and the architecture gets its own local coloring. They began to build Almaty II railway station in 1936. 30 years later, its Turkestan brother. It is a typical building built according to drawings of Kharkov Transprojekt Institute. Geotagging of building connection was carried out by architects Kudryavtsev and Galkin, known at that time.
Железнодорожный вокзал первоначально был расположен.
The railway station was originally located in the Krasnogvardeyski tract. However, at the suggestion of Tinishbayev, it was moved to the present place, to Starokladbishnisky Street. The building of Almaty II railway station is made in classical style and has a symmetrical composition. The upper floor is highlighted with a high attic. The entrance is accented by stanzas with a glass painting of a semicircular completion. Corinthian columns run along the perimeter of the building in half walls. The flanges have semicircular volumes of risalit with large windows. Under the very cornice of central building, there are sculptural compositions established in the distant 36th year. They depict workers, a miner, a soldier, a collective farmer, and a shepherd. According to the author's idea, these male and female figures were supposed to symbolize successes of the land of Soviets in manufacturing industry and agriculture. There are no blank spots in the history, or let us say missing segments. We are all pioneers and Komsomol members. Yes, now they say that it was a little erroneous way, but this does not mean that we can exclude it. Each monument takes a place in history, and we need to have an appropriate attitude to it. The railway station square, which is part of general architectural composition, has an interesting history. Originally, here the monument to Abai was laid that in 1972 was replaced by a 4-meter granite Kalinin. Now the monument to Ablai Khan was erected in front of the railway station. Here is also an interesting moment. Traditionally, there is always a round square near the railway station, and this is in connection with the wagons. They had to turn around, and just the radius determined the square itself.
Вот этот радиус, он, собственно, и определял вот эту саму площадь.
For the first time, the building met with serious reconstruction in 1977. Then the specialist of Almaty Guy Pragor Project Institute attached the western wing to the main massif. This decision was dictated by the need to increase working space due to the rapidly increasing passenger traffic. Completion slightly violated the original proportions of the building, but looked more than worthy, in many respects due to the fact that it completely repeated the compositional decisions of the Eastern Bloc. In subsequent years, the railway station building has changed its appearance and interior decoration more than once. Part of these changes was caused by Jasibai Bokinbayev, a hereditary railroad man who once headed Almaty railway station.
In
1993, the building was internally lined with a marble slab. Before it was painted with Soviet paint and the view was poor, but now it has taken on a solemn appearance. However, despite the positive response of citizens, reconstruction caused a number of concerns among researchers and architects. In view of the fact that original construction did not provide for such a heavy cladding, the building may give a significant drawdown in the course of time.
Понятно, 36-й год все-таки это бедная была. Ну, в смысле, как сказать, республика была сейчас бедная.
Well, it is clear that this was the 36th year the Republic was still poor. It was just before the war. And only 6 to 7 years ago, the city became the capital. Construction only began, and naturally, there was no good money on such buildings to make everything beautiful there, in marble. However, it seems to me that even what was done in those days, well, let it remain. What is bad? But this is a living evidence of time in history, how it was and how it existed.
Живое свидетельство времени, истории, как оно было, как оно существовало.
During the work on interior's reconstruction, it was decided to leave the columns' capitals, decorated with Ionic and Corinthian orders, unchanged. They were only slightly repainted, having updated the golden sputtering tarnish from time. Even hammer and sickle, inalienable symbols of the Soviet era, had not given to transformation.
Там вообще работал Бахик, вот скульптор.
The sculptor Bachich was working there. Unfortunately, I do not know the information clearly, but I read from our local historians that they were all repressed and died afterwards. But the architects were good. Bachich was a Czech sculptor. We have Kazpivo here, which is the house of books now. His bas-reliefs are also made here. He is an artist, a sculptor. He was good for those times. Today, Almaty 2 railway station is included in the list of monuments of local importance. Here, as before, life is in full swing. The trains are sent every day from 4 railroads to neighboring republics: Russia, China, Kyrgyzstan, and Uzbekistan. In recent years, passenger traffic has grown to 8,000 people a day. Due to modern requirements for such objects, the railway station was modernized, but already in technological terms. From this year, we introduced the screening procedure concept in order to ensure anti-terrorist security. We introduce a new concept of tenants selecting to improve passenger service. We update all commercial points. We open the playing room and a separate room for disabled persons.
Открыли игральную комнату для детей, отдельную комнату для инвалидов.
On June 1st, 2017, one more star was added to the constellation of significant architectural buildings of railway assignment: Nurli-Joly Capital Complex, a modern building with a total area of 126,000 square meters. First of all, our railway station is different in size. The length of its main body is 630 meters. Even in Europe, there are no such buildings. There were none in the architecture of the Soviet period. There is a large, beautiful square inside the railway station, in its heart, which is also uncharacteristic for such buildings. Therefore, we cannot say that we took as a basis in some specific samples during construction.
Çok fazla başka bir binadan esinlendiğimizi söyleyemeyeceğiz.
The building was designed by a team of international experts, including experts from Turkey, Britain, and Germany. Together, they managed to build the first railway station in Kazakhstan, located on concourse, above the railway tracks. Speaking easier, now it is not required for passengers to leave a premise to get on a train. Directly inside the railway station, 6 landing routes are built. Each has a special exit, which allows the facility to serve up to 35,000 passengers daily. Our Nurli-Joly railway station receives and sends 48 trains. 70% of them are high-speed trains Talgo. We also have standard trains moving around the Republic in key areas. At our disposal, we also have high-speed trains that will carry passengers around the city in the manner of electric trains. This is one of the favorite places of our passengers, a panoramic view of our platform. In terms of organization of internal space, the railway station is more like an airport. Multi-level rooms, ceilings are so high that it is almost impossible to make out what is hidden under their arches, cross stairs and escalators.
Здание состоит из 105 тысяч квадратных метров. Это шестиэтажное здание. На первом, втором
этаже. It is a 6-story building. On the first and second floors, we have an indoor parking. On the third floor, we have an apron. There are 6 ways. On the 4th floor, we have cash desks, a waiting room, and boutiques that can be visited directly. On the 5th floor, we have a food court where visitors can eat, talk, and wait for their train. On the 6th floor, we have office spaces and a hotel. In addition, there is parking for cars on the street.
Также есть на улице парковка в количестве 500 машиномест.
If we talk about design and decorative finishing, then everything is pretty laconic. The color accent is made on light colors with a predominance of gray, green, and blue. Some walls are completely made of glass, which visually expands the space.
Hastane tren garı binası da genel olarak
Due to the fact that front part of the building is made of glass, then it is the main material for the facade. Nevertheless, in interior design, more diverse materials are presented. For example, metal coatings and natural stone. In particular, we actively introduce basalt into constructions. We used it when creating Kazakh national motifs in the interior. By the way, we also decorated some of the surfaces with glass inside. For example, railings and some partitions between the rooms. In general, I want to say that we tried to solve two problems at once here. On the one hand, to maintain everything in modern style, and on the other hand, to fill the room with warmth and light so that people feel themselves here in peace and they feel calm and protected.
yansıtmak hem de aynı zamanda içeriye canlı insanların huzurla ve mutlulukla, güvenle oturacağı ortamları sağlamak amacıyla çok farklı renklerde ortamlar kullanıldı.
In matters of security, the new railway station meets all world standards. For inspection of passengers, 16 entrance checkpoints are provided. All events occurring on the territory of the railway station are monitored by dispatching center in real-time mode. The railway station has a new video surveillance system. 493 cameras are installed on the railway station territory and around the perimeter. 4 dispatchers are in the control center for prompt response. The architects and designers of the railway station paid special attention to the comfort of passengers. At the disposal of the latter are spacious waiting rooms with comfortable furniture, numerous retail outlets, and places where you can charge various gadgets free. Disabled persons are not deprived of care. Everything is figured out well here, from a special floor covering to elevators. There are tactile paths, an information board written in Braille alphabet, and special cash desks. In addition, modern equipment has been installed to land citizens directly on the train. It's no secret that Joly railway station opening was timed to staging of the Expo International Exhibition in Astana. The green trends of this event were reflected in the design solutions used in the construction. The building was equipped with energy-saving elevators and escalators. Ground heat exchangers were installed, which preheat the air coming from the street in winter and cool it in the summer season. For example, rainwater that accumulates on the roof of the building, and due to construction it accumulates quite a lot, so we use this water for irrigation of green plantations and other technical needs. Despite the fact that the capital's railway station was only recently commissioned, the world community has already managed to appreciate all its advantages. At the same time, positive responses were heard not only from the tourists' lips, but were also announced by world-leading architects. Joly railway station was nominated 2 prizes. One of them is Architectural Review Future Project Awards. There in 2016, our station became the winner in the category, the most ambitious urban project. The second contest is the World Architecture Festival. It is a kind of architectural Oscar. Our project is presented in transport nomination among 13 other projects. Moreover, we hope that we will return with an award from there.
16 Kasım'da Berlin'de sonuçlar açıklanacak.
Over 300 railway stations operate in Kazakhstan today. Many of them are old pre-revolutionary structures, and ultra-modern complexes are not just transport objects, but genuine masterpieces of architecture. They reflect the ideas of beauty and convenience of people of different eras and views. Moreover, This is their limitless value for future generations.